Smith Pod starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Tyler Smith Pod, everybody. And we're going to be talking about the Earlham College baseball team making it to the NCAA Division III tournament. So Earlham's baseball team was recently selected into the NCAA Division III tournament into the Lynchburg Regional after winning the HCAC conference tournament. And I'm going to break this down because I know a bunch of you guys here follow the Earlham College baseball team. So let's just going to break that down and let you know about what to expect and what to know looking forward for their upcoming matchups in their region. All right, so Earlham College was selected into the Lynchburg region in the NCAA tournament. They're going to be playing May 20th through the 22nd, and they're going to be playing against 4 teams in this regional. Those 4 teams are Birmingham Southern, Earlham, number 2 seed Lynchburg, and number 3 seed Sal Virginia. These seeds are just within the region, so they're not the number 1 overall seeds by any means, but they got 4 teams in this little region here that are very talented teams. Birmingham Southern was a champion of the Southern Athletic Association, and then Lynchburg and Sal Virginia were 2 of the 14 at-large bids in this tournament. Earlham's going to open up day 1 playing against Birmingham Southern, and then Lynchburg and Sal Virginia are also going to be playing at that same time. And when this tournament's going to be going on, we're going to have Birmingham Southern playing Earlham, Lynchburg versus Sal Virginia, and then the winner moves on to here, but it's going to be a double elimination tournament. So whoever moves on out of this region is going to be the person that comes out and wins. So Earlham opens up against the number 1 seed, Birmingham Southern. We're going to take a look at Birmingham Southern here real quick and look at some of their stats and let you know about some of their upcoming best players. So opening it up with Birmingham Southern this year, 38-8 overall, 18-3 in the conference and winning their conference, a team that kind of dominated from start to finish. Their best hitter is going to be Andrew Dutton, hitting 400 on the year with unreal stats all throughout the season, going 46 games played, games started, while also having 175 at-bats and 70 hits. In baseball, some of the best players of all time, hit 300, and this kid had a season hitting 400, and they have several other hitters, as you see right here, hitting above that 300 mark. Looking at some of their pitchers, they have a dominant pitcher here in Connor Adams. Connor Adams, a 6'1", 170-pound right-handed pitcher, a freshman, someone who is noted in the Division III baseball selection show, has just been a great pitcher overall this year for Birmingham Southern. Probably going to be a guy that's coming out of the bullpen for them, I'd imagine, although he does have 4 wins on the season. 35 2/3 innings pitched with a 2.02 ERA is pretty incredible, being a guy who pitched throughout the entire season. As well, you have a handful of other guys here, 2.274 with Oliver Livingston and a 3.07 ERA with Tristan Harvin. You have some 3 dominant pitchers. I'd imagine that Earlham is going to see a mix of Connor Adams as well, another one of their starters. That Earlham College might be seeing is Joey White, a freshman. This team has a pretty young pitching staff from what it seems, so they're good players. So Earlham may see 2 freshmen on day 1. Earlham pitching staff really needs to take a look for is Ian Hancock, a guy who had a terrific season, hitting 16 home runs while also batting .375. Ian Hancock is going to be a person that can wreck a game if Earlham is a little loose around the pitching side of things. Lynchburg is one of the 2 at-large bids we have in the region, as well one of the 14 at-large bids in the entire tournament. Lynchburg this year went 35-10 overall in the season and played some other NCAA tournament teams as well. Looking here at number 15, Trinity, Texas, who they won 4-3 on Friday, the 18th of February. Going throughout their schedule here, they played some very tough competition early. Number 15 ranked team in the nation, number 9 and number 7 in Birmingham Southern. That could be a little look ahead here. Birmingham Southern defeated them 12-3 early in the season, although a lot of things have changed since February, but the head-to-head always shows something. As well, if you go through looking out the rest of their schedule, they did a very good job this season going from start to finish, pretty relatively strong. No real big hiccups or slip-ups throughout the season. You're going to see that with a lot of these conference tournament teams that come out of the conference and win. But with Lynchburg being an at-large bid team, they had to really impress the NCAA selection committee because there's only so many at-large bids. There's only 14 of them, and to make it without winning their conference tournament game and World Conference Tournament championship is very impressive. Lynchburg stats here. What stands out to me is the team batting average of 303 and the team on base percentage of 435. That shows that this team does a very good job of hitting, as well as just finding a way to get on base, whether that's beating out plays, beating out errors, as well, working a walk here and there occasionally. That just shows a lot that they're going to get on base 43.5% of the time. For those of you guys who don't really understand some of these baseball stats, on base percentage should just be a little bit above 300. As I was saying earlier, some of the best players of all time, their batting average is 300. Your batting average ties in your on base percentage to an extent, and having a 435 on base percentage is pretty incredible as an entire team. So you're going to see that Lynchburg is a team that's going to be able to get on the base pass and sometimes cause damage. So the biggest key to all the teams in this region is trying to limit them on the base pass. So taking a look here at Lynchburg, having a team ERA of 3.89 is pretty impressive. Showing that they only let up about 3 earned runs a game, closer to 4. But that's very impressive in collegiate baseball, seeing that some teams put up 8, 9, 10 runs a ball game. So they're doing a good job of keeping their team in the game, especially doing that, having a 3.89 total ERA on the season with a 435 on base percentage kind of shows that Lynchburg's going to do a good job of keeping the score low and just trying to find a way to grind games out sometimes. They're not going to be the most flashy or explosive or exciting team sometimes, but they're going to find a way to get on base and sometimes grind these games out. And that's something that you have to be careful of going into the tournament, because a team gets hot, they just have to find a way to get on base. Once momentum starts going their way, it can be a dangerous game. One error, one misstep can lead to Lynchburg kind of going on a rally with this 435 on base percentage we see right here. That really stands out to me in the Lynchburg statistical category is Avery Neves, 420 batting average on the season, played all 45 games, started all 45 games as well, had 15 home runs and 63 RBIs. This is going to be a guy that's going to try and lead Lynchburg's offense throughout the season. As well, a pretty clean fielder, so he's not going to be someone that's a liability out there for Lynchburg. As well, we have a couple other guys here right below him hitting 400. Riley O'Donovan showing him and starting and playing in 29, starting 26 ball games with 88 at bats, hitting 400 on the season, with several other guys above 300, which is very impressive. As well, they're going to have a couple of guys that can pitch really well. 2 people that stand out a lot to me here, maybe Jack Backmore and Nick Matfield, with a 2.11 ERA and a 3 ERA. These are going to be some of their putting arms that they're going to rely on heavily throughout this NCAA Division III tournament. So this is going to be someone that Earlham needs to look out for as well. Sal Virginia, one of the 2 at-large bids within this region as well, one of the 14 at-large bids in the NCAA tournament this coming year. We see 28, 11, and 2 on the season as well. What stands out to me a lot with their stats here is 344 runs in 41 games. So taking a look at the math of this, you're going to have 344 runs in 41 games. This can come out to about roughly 8 runs per game. So they have a pretty explosive offense, which can cause some havoc with some pitching staffs here, because you don't want to get in a shootout. And you're going to see a lot of these games 7-0, 7-4, 9-0 as well. Some big games, even though they lost this game to Oswego 22-14, putting up that many runs in a collegiate baseball game is very impressive. As well, taking a look here, Sal Virginia was also upset in their conference championship, losing to Endicott 14-9. So this is going to be a team that's trying to bounce back at the right time and trying to knock off number 7 Lynchburg as well to try and make it out of this regional here. But now, the team that we all care about here at the Tyler Smith Pod, the Earlham College Quakers, a team I was thankfully able to be a part of to some extent, calling play-by-play this year. Being around these guys, this can be a good group of guys who are heating up at the right time. 26-11 on the season, a 4-game win streak, as well as some very notable performances. We had a game against Principia, 21-4 in 7 innings as well. One game that stands out from the rest of them is going to be this game versus Defiance, 40-7. I know Defiance is not the strongest opponent we faced all season long, but putting up 40 runs regardless was very impressive. This game got out of hand quick, as you see here in the box score, getting 11 runs in the first inning, jumping on them early. some people that Earlham are going to have to rely on heavily throughout this tournament. They want to make it out of the regional, which is very possible because they're heating up at the right time. And that's what baseball is all about. When you're heating up, who's hot and when. Some guys you have to rely on here is Andrew Bradley hitting 388 on the season, McCabe 395, Lanchonnet is hitting 354, Easton Embry 323, Christian Lanchonnet is hitting 317, Jordan Cooter hitting 305. As well, you have Maxwell Fries, Devin Baisley, and Zach Swearingen all hitting above 250. As well for Earlham, the four arms that we're going to have to rely on heaviest throughout the tournament are going to be Justin Dilhoff, Jacob Renner, Aiden Talarek, and Ethan Kaneker. What stands out about these guys is they all have a pretty large amount of innings pitched as well. They're just dominant relief pitchers as well. You saw Dilhoff come in the conference championship game to kind of slam the door to win the tournament. As well, you have guys like Ethan and Aiden who are just absolutely dominant with 1.54 ERAs and a 3.8 ERA. And Jacob Renner and Dilhoff, the reason why some of their ERAs are a little bit higher is just due to the amount of the innings pitched they have. You're going to have Dilhoff be one of your openers, as well you're going to have Aiden Talarek as your two openers for the team. You're going to have Jacob Renner and Ethan Kaneker try to slam the door, be that setup specialist and that closer dynamic for this baseball team. As well, one person you cannot forget is going to be number 8, Andrew Bradley, once again with 16 home runs and 48 RBIs on the season. Andrew Bradley, one of those guys who's, if he's seeing the ball well and hitting it well, can be a guy that leads Earlham into a deep playoff run this year. Just obviously 109 total bases and 48 RBIs, and not only 48 RBIs, but 16 home runs, instant source of offense, and hitting in that later middle of the lineup can sometimes get a few guys ahead of him in the lineup and on base can cause some significant damage for any pitching staff that Earlham faces throughout this NCAA tournament. And that's going to be a little bit about these four teams here in the region. So personally, I think that Earlham is red hot currently. I think the two teams with the best chance to make it out of this region are going to be Birmingham Southern and Earlham, the 1 and 4 seeds in the region. And I really do think Earlham can make it out of the region. They're heating up at the right time. They're coming off an HCAC conference championship win, and they're just a good group of guys, young, hungry, and wanting to get after it. I think they can do great damage throughout this tournament. They're senior laden, and they just have lots of experience and lots of explosiveness at the plate, putting out runs with 40 runs, as well as being top of the Division III NCAA leaders in runs per game with a fairly dominant pitching staff that can back up that offensive firepower. I think Earlham can make a deep run, winning the Lynchburg, Virginia region and making a deep run into the NCAA Division III college baseball tournament.